Alrighty, let's have a quick run through of all the pairs, but mind you, today we have high impact news on CAD and USD and somewhat of an impact, medium impact, on CHF and USD pairs later in the evening. Okay, but these are all going to happen during the US session, so just beware. Okay, beware. Okay, so we're gonna have today start off by GU, but before we go to that, let me just give you a run through of what happened yesterday, because if you listened to my analysis, all pairs would be in blue. Okay, starting with GJ, it broke my zone M5 and M15, but still respected. H4 still respected. So if you go down into M15 or M5, let me just show you. M5, despite it breaking the zone, it actually created a hidden engulfing zone, the one that I also told you about in my webinar, and respected from the key level. So you can see it closed within the key level and drop. Okay, so GJ gave us a total from the key level. I'm just going to take it from the key level down to the lowest it made was 110 pips, guys. It's 110 pips. Well done. Okay, GJ is very fast, very strong. So that's 110 pips already from GJ. Next, GA. On H4, I told you to see if it closes within the zone. Once it closes within the zone, then you switch down to M15 or M5. And if we do that, you can see that it created no setups at all, because once it reached our zone, it created this engulfing cell that broke, right? After breaking, it created an engulfing fail. So we know that the buyers are coming in strong, because this engulfing fail was the one that pushed the price on H4 to break our zone. Even if we go down to M5, you can see that it played around, an engulfing cell, then broke. Then we have an EFEG over here for the fly. Okay? And if you did exactly as I told you, if it did not create any setups, then you wait for H4 to break, wait for the retracement, then you can enter from those M15 and M5, right? And it did that, right? It retraced back into the key level and spiked up. And if you were able to catch this from the key level up to the highest they made, that's already 118 pips on GA. Okay, so congrats to whoever caught that, right? It takes a lot of monitoring from breaking and respecting the zones, okay? And last but not least, we have AU. AU also very, very good pair, and it gave us 2 bounces from the sell. Okay? Oh, actually, you have 3. I gave you a zone over here. It respected, H4 still did. Then it dropped. From the key level, let's just go down into a smaller time frame over here. From the key level, I dragged this out on M15. Actually, this was, I believe, M5. Yep, this was an M5 that I moved. I will explain my boxes. Okay. Now, just from there, from the key level, this was a zone over here that I gave you. Down from the sell zone, down was 35 pips. From the buy zone, you even caught this where it tapped and then poked, right? It poked the sell and then dropped to close down into the buy, but it still respected this engulfing fail over here, which means that the sellers are still in control. So even if you were able to catch this whole spike, that's already another 35 pips, right? Played around, open, spiked, drop. You would catch your TP over here. That's already 70 pips in the bag. And last but not least, if you monitored, because this wick is still from this zone, excuse me, and still from the key level, so from here down to the lowest it is making, and it's still going to continue, because, why do I say that? Because H4 just closed below. So if you want to catch down on this sell continuation, Wait for the price to come back into the key level, then you can sell down. Okay, my suggestion. I'm gonna wait for that too because it actually hit my BE. Okay, but wait for the price to retrace back, find a sell to sell down into the next zone, which will be another 90 or close to 100 pips. Okay, close to 100 pips, but nevertheless, excuse me, from this high down to the lowest it made, it already ran 62 pips. Okay, so just from one pair of AU, you would have caught more than 130 pips already. 3 pairs together, I'm pretty sure that's close to 500 pips. Okay, if you monitored and did exactly what I told you to do. Okay, so well done on those. Now we go back to our pairs. GU, I'm not going to explain much, but an interesting thing that I will point out is GU in our sell key level has 2 key level, or I mean sell zone has 2 key levels, right? So try to go down, map it out, go down to M15, try to find why did I map these 2 key levels. Okay, then on my buy zone we have this, so we have a buy and a sell. Excuse me. On the H4 perspective, we can see that this was the point of the reversal that caused this whole downtrend, right? And price has yet to break any of the highs. It's still creating lower lows and lower highs. The recent one closed, but it did not break over this one. So we know that the seller pressure is still quite a lot, right? So there's a chance also, if it continues in this trend, in this downtrend, then this zone potentially could break, because what do you have now, or what we have now, is just an EFEG, right? The previous H4 closed within the zone. So if you wanted to buy, it wouldn't make sense for you to buy all the way up, but there's a potential that it can happen because we have a USD pair of high impact moves that's going to happen during the US session. It is possible, right? So what you can do is just monitor, go down to M15, try to find a zone. We already see that there's an engulfing fail over here, right? So you can monitor that. There's an engulfing buy over here. Even go down to M5 to check. Engulfing 5 is creating. Engulfing buy failed. No zones over here yet actually, but we have sell, sell. Okay, so we know that the buyers and sellers in different time frames are battling each other within the key level. So what do you do if you are going to trade USD crossings? Until the news is released, you can scalp. Okay, scalp. But if you want to wait, I would say better wait for it first. Then you can see either if it comes into our sell or respects our buy, or if it's going to break our buy, then you can make a decision then, right? But if you want to scalp before then, it's completely okay. Next, EG. EG is a very heavy pair, but it's quite rock solid on engulfing theory. Okay, meaning it respects and it does exactly what it needs to do, even breaking. Okay, so sell zone, buy zone, current price is in the buy zone. So what do? Switch down to M15. I actually have drawn a zone that I am monitoring. So what zone did I draw? I drew this engulfing sell that failed. Price respected, but it's failing to fly even higher. Meaning if the sellers break this zone, then the sellers should come in. But it should not break over or break below this engulfing buy over here, because this is the limit of the structure, right? Talking about engulfings. But wick-wise, this is the limit of the whole structure, because this is the lowest that it made, and it's this buyers over here that kept the price above and in the key level. Okay, excuse me. So you can monitor that also. If I switch down to M5, let's see if I can find anything. We have buy meets buy. So M5 can't break that. Okay, if you want to monitor, go ahead. All right, but either way, like I always say, if it respects, potential for a buy. If it breaks below, potential for a drop down even lower. Okay, if you want to TP, make sure you TP at somewhere, especially for newbies, somewhere where you usually manually cut the trade. Excuse me, whether that be 10, 15 pips. Say your first TP as that, and then you just add on to TP2, TP3. Now, after it hitting 20 pips, my usual suggestion is 20 pips. Set break even for the rest of your trades and then just let it run. Okay? So this could happen. Last but not least, UJ. UJ is an interesting pair for today also because we have two sell zones and a buy zone over here. So we can see that UJ has been going on a very heavy uptrend. From here, a very, very heavy uptrend. Okay? Now, if it still wanted to continue on that, it should not break this engulfing buy meets an engulfing buy, right? And price should come contest over here and here. And if it wants to continue on an uptrend, then it could potentially break. But the fact that this was an engulfing sell, that price, when price came back, it did not break the sell zone also. The sellers, or the price actually came over here, collected sellers from this key level and this key level. So you can see how sharp it is. This went through the whole zone. Then the next H4 price came back again, did the same thing, but stopped right at the key level before dropping and created this EFEG sell while still respecting this engulfing sell. So we know that the sellers in between this zone and this zone are also very strong because they're trying to find, or they're trying to barricade their power over here, right? We have two defenses or defense lines that the price has to go through for it to continue up. So if the buyers cannot break these zones and it needs to collect more buyers, it either needs support from here or it has to go lower, which will be around here. Around here, right? So it's quite far. So if the buyers over here do not do its job, then this will become a potential sell zone, meaning price could fail. It could tap into the next buy zone to power through. Okay, to power through. So what do? Wait for H4 to come into contact of these zones. If it closes within these zones, then we can look for a sell over here and a buy over here. But if it breaks below or breaks above this zone, if it breaks below, excuse me, either we wait for the price to retrace back into the key level for a sell down, or we look for the next buy opportunity. If it breaks above, excuse me, our sell zone, then we know we have another sell zone, a potential sell from this engulfing sell zone that we can monitor for any sells in the future. Okay, so that's it for the pairs. Excuse me. Trade smart, trade wisely, please, and don't full margin your account unless you know exactly what you're doing. Okay, focus on growing slowly and steadily. All right, I'll talk to you soon.